So now we're going to talk a little bit more about core stability. So one of the most fundamental exercises of that core is a plank. So there's different variations of a plank that you can do, and Sarah's going to demonstrate some different versions. So the very basic plank is you're going to extend those feet out. You want to keep that body nice and straight, propping up on your elbows here. Make sure your shoulders stay over your elbows. Make sure those hips drop down a little bit. So you want a nice straight line from your shoulders to the hips to the ankles. So a common mistake here is to bring those hips up into the air. So you want to keep those nice and flat here. So you don't want to let your low back sink or sag. Don't let those hips drop either. So you want to keep nice and neutral, keep your abdominals engaged, squeeze those glutes, squeeze the thighs together, and maintain that. Start with 15, 20 seconds, build it up to 30 seconds, and you can hold for a minute or until you get really fatigued and start to lose your form there. So to progress the elbow plank, we're going to go into a full plank with extended arms. So same mechanics here, shoulders in line with the hips, in line with the ankles. Make sure the hips don't lift or sag. And make sure you don't shift your weight over the wrists too far or back too far. So make sure your shoulders are over your wrists there. So to progress this, you can add a soccer ball into this. You can do some alternating shoulder taps. I'm going to put the ball right in front of Sarah here, and she's going to alternate tapping the ball. So this is going to challenge that core and your balance a little bit more here. So you really want to focus on not letting your hips wiggle too much here, just like that. So that would be bad form for a plank. So you really want to focus on keeping those as level as you can, almost like you had a glass of water on your back that you didn't want to spill. So some other ways you can progress this is you can move the ball in different directions. So if you want to start with that hand there, same concept here, don't let your hips wiggle too much there. Keep them nice and straight. And that's going to challenge that core and that single arm a little bit more there. The next one we're going to talk about is a side plank. So Sarah's going to show you a side plank on your elbow. So we want to focus on that same body mechanics that we did with the forward plank. Make sure your shoulder is right over top of your elbow. Make sure your body is a straight line, so don't let your hips gravitate backwards. Don't let them sag, and don't let them lift too high into the air. And same thing, keep those shoulder blades squeezed there. Don't sag into it at all. Keep that shoulder nice and strong. And what you can do to make this a little bit more challenging, go ahead and raise that arm up towards the ceiling. So this lets you extend that a little bit more, working on the balance. And now you can add some rotation to it to get a little bit more core stability here with the rotation. You should really feel this in your glutes, your obliques, your abdominals. Just like that. Okay. So with the rotations, you can start with even just doing 5 or 10 of these until you feel that you start to fatigue or lose your form. So you don't want to practice this with bad mechanics. So as soon as you start to lose that good form, stop and go over to the other side. So maybe you want to start with 5 on one side, turn over and do 5 on your other side. And as those start to get a little bit easier, bump it up to 10 or 15 or 20 there.